Hi, welcome to Alaskan in Thailand. We're on the beach here this morning at about 6 a.m. Thought I'd take a little walk, see if this will work out or not. Today I thought I'd talk about Dumaguete. What are the downsides of living in Dumaguete? There's a few. And you know, if you're just coming and it's your first time in Asia and you come anywhere in the Philippines, you're gonna think it's beautiful. There's flowers everywhere, beautiful women everywhere, beautiful trees, forests, mountains. The jungle is just beautiful. If you look up towards Valencia, it's just a beautiful mountain jungle, palms, beautiful waterfall and streams coming down out of the middle of it. It really is a beautiful place. I will never begrudge, the Philippines of that, or Dumaguete of that even. It's a very beautiful place. But there's a few downsides to it that you should probably know if you're from a Western country. First thing you're going to notice is all the dogs everywhere. There's going to be a bunch of sick, mangy dogs with missing hair laying all over the roads, laying all over the sidewalks, in front of businesses. Most of them are generally ignore you, but they're there everywhere, and it's kind of pitiful to look at them. They're dead in the roads and stuff. It's not a good thing. That's going to be one of the things you'll notice right away. Next thing you'll notice, or probably even before that, is all the rooster crowing every 5 seconds. You can't really get away from that in the Philippines. The roosters are crowing. Look at that beautiful house up there. All of them. Yeah, you really can't get away from the rooster crowing unless you get up high in a condo. And if you're in Dumaguete, there's only one condo. That's another thing. They're kind of limited on where you can live safely, in my opinion. To be in some areas of the Philippines, you probably want to be in a condo where you have security and all that, or at least a gated community. A lot of the apartment complexes and even will have gated communities. So that's something to consider. These things are good fishermen. They do pretty good. I see them catching fish all the time. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. So you can't get up above the rooster noise, like I said, unless you're in a condominium and there's only the one spatial marina. I've stayed there. Actually, I stayed a month there and I really didn't like it. The real claustrophobic the one I had was a 2-bedroom and it was claustrophobic. Really didn't like it. And it was expensive too. That's another thing. You think it was over $500 a month, I think, when I got it, just for a monthly rental. It was 500 something, 5 something a month. I didn't like it. I couldn't have lived there. It was okay for my vacation when I was there for a month. It suited me for that. It's centrally located out there in the North Shore. There's things to do. There's restaurants around the area. There's few bars around the area. It's the nicer end of town they just rebuilt. Last time I was there, they were working on another one too, another addition, another building of spatial marinas. So there will probably be more coming online if they didn't already. I forget how far they were along when I saw it. But yeah, you got to get up above the rooster noise if you can, or you literally will be living in the rooster noise. There's no way around it. You get used to it. I raised chickens. I had my own roosters. I had usually 2 or 3 at once, and I'd hear them all the time. Get used to it. Same with the dogs barking. You'll get used to it eventually, but if you're one of them guys that lay in bed at night and you hear a dog bark and you can't sleep, you're really gonna have a tough time in the Philippines. It's just something you're gonna have to deal with, because there's dogs and roosters barking. It's a really noisy place. It's a really busy city too. That's another thing. It's really Dumaguete's really compacted down into one area of town, pretty much right along the boulevard. And the traffic's real bad. It's real crowded. Even the sidewalks, walking into the stores. You go into the store, Lee Plaza, there's only a couple of grocery stores and 2 or 3 big Robinsons, small Robinsons, and Lee Plaza. I guess they opened another one. There might be some other smaller ones, but that's about it. And when you go into shop at the store, you're going to be waiting in line just about always. And it can be a half-hour wait, sitting in behind 20 people in a line. And get used to that, because the queues in the Philippines are long. Long lines and long waits. Really got to have the mindset for that. So yeah, you're gonna have to get used to the crowds. And it's actually it's a small, dirty little city, really, honestly. But it is, at a glance, it looks beautiful. Everything looks nice along the boulevard. You drive along, there's flowers and trees and everything. It looks really beautiful. But it's a bit deceptive if you go walking around. You can't take a step without stepping on a piece of trash. It's just litter everywhere. They keep the shops and stuff in front of the buildings swept and nice. They sweep them every day, mostly for the leaves and stuff that fall, but they sweep up the trash too and burn it. So that's another thing you got to think about. It's smoky here in Thailand at certain times of the year, but Dumaguete is smoky twice a day, every day. In the morning, everybody's cooking their breakfast. They light fires. They actually cook on fire there in the Philippines. A lot of people still do. Every day they wake up, they go out, and they got a little shack out extended off their house, and they'll start with a little fire and cook what they need for their breakfast. Smokes up the town. You'll notice in the morning the smoke starts up, and then again about evening, same thing happens. Smoke up the town because everybody's cooking their dinner. And then they burn trash too. Like I said, they rake up the trash and leaves, and they'll burn them. So the town is literally smoked up, so you're gonna have to get used to the smoke. The traffic is another one. That's another hidden thing. Even if you're in a taxi, which they don't have them, you're gonna have a trike. The transportation's real reasonable, but remember, it's a trike and you gotta wait around for one, and in busy times you really can't get one sometimes. So if you don't have your own transportation, in my opinion, it's a death wish to drive there. I had a girlfriend, she wouldn't let me drive there. She said, no. She would not let me. And I didn't want to anyway. I'm sure all you hotshot young guys are going to jump on a motor scooter and take off ripping up the mountain and all that, but not this old geezer here. I ain't going to do that. I rode motorcycles my whole life. I know what I'm doing, but I ain't going to drive in that traffic where I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. That's Monkey Mountain down there. I want to go down there again. There is a lot of monkeys on it too. Yeah, just some few things to consider if you're trying to talk yourself in the Philippines or Dumaguete. It might be not what you expected and not what you saw on YouTube. It's getting to be overrun with foreigners too. That's another thing. When I went there this past June or July, it seemed like there's a lot of foreigners, and the housing market was bought up. I was having a really hard time finding a place to live even. I was staying in a hotel for a couple weeks before I finally found a place that I could rent. That was $450 a month. It's a nice place, but it was out of town, away from the boulevard. I had to take a trike downtown every time I wanted to go shopping or anything like that. It got to be a pain in the ass, and it was a lonely life living out there. At night it was dark, couldn't get into town unless you took a taxi or a trike again, and it's not a good situation for me. Hard to find food. There was no restaurants nearby. I had to do my own cooking mostly, which I didn't mind. But I cooked my whole life in Alaska, and I kind of wanted to eat takeout. So I'd go to town, I'd take a trike down. You could always get a trike down for 20 pesos, but when you come back, it costs you 150. And that's $3 or so, which ain't terrible. But keep in mind, you're riding in these trikes when it's raining, pouring, and if it starts raining, it's hard to get one. All the trikes are taken by people that are trying to get out of the rain. So that's another problem. Usually you can get one, but sometimes if they'll only bring you if they want to, too. You'll pull up to them and they'll say no. You tell them where you're going. When you flag a trike down, they pull up in front of you and you tell them the destination where you're going to go. And if they're not going that way, or they don't want to go that way, they'll just drive away. They won't say yes or no. They'll just drive away. It's kind of bizarre, but you got to get used to it. If they drive away, you know what that means. But if they'll nod their head and then you get in. But it can be hard to get one, especially like Lee Plaza, when everybody's shopping. You know, that place is packed and the trikes all line up out in front, and you stand there for quite a while before you get one. Yeah, it can be tough. And so, yeah, there's the bureaucracy and red tape of everything over there too. Everything moves at a snail's pace. I ain't saying it don't in other places, but that's one thing, the bureaucracy there is. Even when you get a ACR card, I think it was going to have to wait a month for that. So I didn't want to hang around there. That's why I kind of jumped off and came here to Thailand. And you know what? We don't have all those issues here in Thailand. No dogs. A few dogs. They're all well fed and seem to be well taken care of. A little different here. I just thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit and give you a heads up. Expecting to go over there and thinking it's all on YouTube, and I ain't discouraging you from it, and I ain't saying it's not a good place. I liked it. If I had to stay there, I could stay there. If I didn't know any better and I was just going there like I was, you know, I thought it was the coolest place in the world, because I haven't been anywhere else in Asia. Once you're in a different place in Asia, I don't know, you know, that's what I say. Don't just go to one spot. Check a few places. Don't just stop one country and determine that this is where you're going to put down roots, because it might not be. My intention was to go to Dumaguete too, and I'd been going for 7 years. Been going, I think, since 2018 or somewhere, 17, 18. Going every year except the 2 years of COVID. I was locked out, but I still went right before it and right after it opened again. I was one of the first there opening up. This guy's got his golden retriever running out in the water.